Hello students, this is your Bhushan sir. Hope all of you are safe and fine at home during this pandemic time. Mother Earth is more dominating than we the human beings. It has superior power that we are all experiencing now. We need to pay respect and protect this Mother Nature. If not, much more adverse situations we may need to face in our near future. Students, today we shall understand the next topic of environmental biology, that is wildlife conservation and its management. As you all know that all the animals, birds, insects that lives in their natural habitat or the forest are commonly called as wildlife. Otherwise, wild animals lives in forests or uncultivated areas. The wild animals are not domesticated. These forests and wildlife are important and precious natural resources. They sustain variety of life. They play a vital role in maintaining the healthy ecological balance in the earth. So is the need of these wildlife conservation. Then what is this wildlife conservation? It refers to a scientific planned way to protect the wild animals and plants in their natural habitats. Forests are the natural habitats of wildlife. Every living species on the earth needs an opportunity to reproduce, needs the basic requirements like food, water, shelter, etc. for their sustainability. These animals or wildlife are needed for the smooth functioning of biological cycles of the earth. Thus, we need to conserve the forests and animal species. If a single wildlife species gets vanished away from the earth, it disturbs the whole food chain in the healthy ecosystem. Also, wildlife is important for the medical values, especially in Ayurveda of our country. Wildlife is also important for the ornamental values too. Wildlife is important for cleaning the environment. Example, eagles and vulture birds helps to remove the dead bodies of animals in the natural environment. Thus, keeps the environment clean. Also, the life is not easy for the wild animals in the forest. We may think that the wild animals lives very happily in the forest, but it is not same. From the very moment they are born or hatched from their eggs, they must face serious threats which cause them to suffer a lot. For example, natural conditions like weather, hunger, malnutrition, thirst, diseases, accidents, injuries, and conflicts with other animals, stress, parasitism, etc. Acts as the factors of threat to the wildlife which comes under the natural factors, the category of natural factors. The other causative factors to the threat of this wildlife are human activities. We also call it as anthropological activities. It is estimated that human activities such as deforestation, poaching, hunting are responsible for the destruction of wildlife more than the destruction of wildlife by the natural factors. In simple words to say, the destruction what we create for the wildlife by the human activities is more compared to the natural factors that affects the wildlife. So, the Constitution of India has amended an Article 51AG. It says, it is the fundamental right of every citizen to protect and improve the natural environment. That includes forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, etc. Also, one should show the compassion for all the living creatures on the earth. The human activities on wildlife, such as hunting, poaching, deforestation, as what we have understood early, has resulted in the extinction of many animals on the earth. Some of the animals have reduced too much in their number and they might soon disappear from the earth. These animals are collectively called as endangered animals. It includes the examples like Bengal tiger, Asiatic lion, Asiatic elephants, orangutans, etc. There are many endangered animals listed by IUCN. IUCN stands for the Union of Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. It is an organization that helps in the protection of this wildlife, conservation of this wildlife. It is an institution that also gathers data about these endangered and extinct animals and plant species, and they conduct research and projects in the educational institutions to bring in the awareness on these endangered species. It includes the examples of endangered organisms like Indian vulture, Himalayan quail, then sawfish varieties, then Himalayan wolves, then Kashmir stag, red panda, etc. The headquarters of IUCN is located in Switzerland. IUCN maintains a record of endangered species, which is officially called as Red Data Book or RDB. So, the record where these endangered species, extinct species are recorded is called Red Data Book. In short form, we call it as RDB. The history of RDB, when we look at, its name originates from Russia. Hence, it was also known as Red Data Book of Russian Federation or RDBRF. It was in the year 1961 and 1964 it took its origin. But later in 1990s, the IUCN took the charge of maintaining this RDB at global level. IUCN, even though was established in 1948, in 2008 the name IUCN got changed to World Conservation Union. In short, we call it as WCU or WWF, which stands for World Wildlife Fund. So, the Red Data Book is an established document or record of endangered species of animals, plants, fungi, etc. The Red Data Book has various colored pages in it to represent different degrees of threat what the animals undergo. For instance, red color for endangered species, amber color for vulnerable species, white for rare species, green for animals which are out of danger, black for confirmed animals to be extinct, then gray for the animals that are endangered, but doesn't have sufficient information. Here is the slide depicting various group of animals with their endangered condition, and the color code for various variety of endangered animals is also depicted in the picture here. Students, here we need to understand few of the terms in the chapter of Red Data Book, RDB. Number one, threatened species. So these are all categories of organisms which are mentioned in the Red Data Book. So threatened species or animals that are to extinct in near future. So they will become extinct in future days. Or in simple, these animals have the threat of extinction in the future days to come. It includes three categories of animals further. So threatened species of animals which are recorded in the RDB is further categorized into three, namely vulnerable category, endangered category, and critically endangered species category. So it is based on the degree to which these organisms are threatened. Number one, critically endangered species. According to IUCN, these critically endangered species of organisms have a very highest risk. For example, there is chances of decrease of population by 80% within 3 generations. It includes the examples of bear, rhino, pythons, etc. Here are few critically endangered species of India represented, namely Kashmir stag towards top of left side of the slide. Then at the center beside it is the river dolphin. Next to that you have the Kondana rats, and down you have Malabar civets. So these are all few critically endangered species of India which may become extinct or get reduced by 80% of their population in 3 generations. Number 2 is endangered species. These are also the species of animals with the risk of becoming extinct. They are decreasing in their number due to the threaten or the change in the environment, or sometimes due to predators and even due to deforestation. It includes the examples of polar tigers, that is white tigers, as what you see in the picture down. Third category of animals are vulnerable species. These are the species of animals that are susceptible for endangerment if their survival and reproduction improvement is not done. So if you doesn't take care of their reproductive improvement and survival improvement, they become endangered in future days to come. Excuse me. It includes the examples of single-horned rhino or rhinoceros. This is about the importance of endangered species and their categories. Next, we shall understand the advantages of Red Data Book. Red Data Book helps to identify all wildlife species that need to be conserved. It helps to evaluate the population of a particular species. It gives taxa availability at global level. It estimates the risk of a taxa. It provides the guidelines for implementing the protective measures for the endangered species. Coming on to the disadvantages of RDB. Information of many species mentioned in RDB are not updated as the information is unavailable or sometimes incomplete. The source of information also has controversies. Students, remember, the other disadvantage is the RDB has no information about microbial population. So the status of RDB in India, when we look at, it gives the information of endemic species. You know what are endemic species? Animals which are specific for a specific location. We can find these animals in one particular area of the globe. For example, peacock of India, Asiatic lion, Bengal tigers. So these are species which are seen only in India. Similarly, kangaroos, ostriches, which you find only in Australia. So likewise, the animals which are specific to a particular place itself are called endemic species. So there are two surveying authorities under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, namely Zoological Survey of India and Botanical Survey of India. These are the authorized bodies which maintains the RDB record of India. The next important concept mentioned in your syllabus is types of wildlife conservation. Wildlife conservation, as we know, is further classified or categorized into two types, namely in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. This is based on site or place where the endangered animals and plants are conserved. In situ conservation literally means in-site conservation, where all the endangered animals and plant species are protected by keeping them in their original natural habitat itself. It includes biological reserves, then national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, etc. Ex situ conservation literally means off-site conservation, where all endangered animals and plants are removed from the threatened habitat and placed in a newer location where all care is taken by the human beings itself. The ex situ conservation includes botanical gardens, zoos, tissue culture labs, seed banks, pollen banks, etc. So the biodiversity conservation or wildlife conservation is broadly classified into in situ and ex situ types. In situ conservation includes government protected areas like sanctuaries, national parks and biosphere reserves, whereas ex situ conservation includes seed and gene banks, captive breeding sites, tissue culture labs, botanical gardens and zoos. The first type of in situ conservation that we shall understand is wildlife sanctuaries. Sanctuaries are natural areas which are meant to protect this endangered species of animals and even plants from hunting, poaching, predation and destruction. Here the animals are not bred for the commercial purposes. It includes a protected area of nearly 100 square kilometers. Thus, the animals will be safe and healthy within the secured refuge. The wildlife sanctuaries provide private ownership rights to the people. Otherwise, private ownership rights are permitted in the wildlife sanctuaries. Animals take refuge from hunting, but collection of the forest products, harvest of the timber, to an extent even the tilling of the land is allowed. Sanctuaries are declared by the state government under the section 81(1) of Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, whereas the national parks are declared under the section 35(1) of the same Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. The boundaries of wildlife sanctuaries are well defined at the time of declarance itself. Few well-known wildlife sanctuaries of Karnataka to list out. It includes Bhadra Wildlife Sanctuary of Kalla Hattigiri, Mukambika Wildlife Sanctuary of Kollur, Arabitittu Wildlife Sanctuary of Arabitittu, then Bhimgad Wildlife Sanctuary of Western Ghats, Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary of Western Ghats, then Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary of Malay Mahadeshwara Hills, then Dandeli Wildlife Sanctuary of Uttar Karnataka, Sharavati Wildlife Sanctuaries of Shivamogga, then Kali Wildlife Sanctuary of Uttar Karnataka, Pushpagiri Wildlife Sanctuary of Coorg, Talakaveri Wildlife Sanctuary of Talakaveri, Ranganatittu Wildlife Sanctuary of Ranganatittu. The next in situ conservation protected areas are the national parks. These are also the strictly protected government areas reserved for the improvement of wildlife. It includes a landscape of 100 to 500 square kilometers, and here the natural flora and fauna are protected in the natural environment itself. Wildlife of 99 national parks of India includes various ecozones like temperate, polar, wet and dry regions. It includes the protection of animals like elephants, tigers, cobra, crocodiles, apes, then deer, rhinos, goats, lions, etc. Some of the famous national parks of India are Bandipur National Park of Karnataka, Bandhavgarh National Park of Madhya Pradesh, Corbett National Park of Uttarakhand, Dudhwa National Park of Uttar Pradesh, Gir National Park of Gujarat, Hemis National Park of Jammu and Kashmir, Kanha National Park of Madhya Pradesh, Kaziranga National Park of Assam, Keoladeo Gana National Park of Rajasthan, Manas National Park in Assam, Nagarahole National Park in Karnataka, Panna National Park in Madhya Pradesh, Periyar National Park in Kerala, Pench National Park in Madhya Pradesh, then Ramthambore National Park in Rajasthan, Sariska National Park in Rajasthan, Taboda National Park in Maharashtra, the Great Himalayan National Park in Himachal Pradesh. In this type of protected areas, the wildlife lovers and the tourists are given ample of opportunities for sightseeing, safari tour, then bird watching, fishing, river crossing, camping, etc. Wildlife Authority of India make these areas more protected for tourist attraction. Resorts, hotels, lodges are constructed at a very closer vicinity between the animals and the human beings. The next protected areas of biological or biosphere reserves are biosphere reserves. Here when we look at Man and Biosphere Program, in short it is called MAB, given by UNESCO, is the key authority of biosphere reserves. In biosphere reserves, multiple land use is permitted in various zones in a large protected area which is more than of 5,000 square kilometers. A biosphere reserve is a very large area, as what we have understood, has 3 zones divisible. So we can divide the biosphere into 3 parts or 3 zones. The first is the innermost natural core zone. It is the part where human activity is totally stopped or not at all permitted. All human entry is restricted except for the scientists and the investigators. Hence, the core zone is also called undisturbed area, with numerous plants and animal species that are said to be endemic lives in a natural environment. Hence, core zone helps in the conservation of endemic species and economic species especially. These are the areas that secures legal protection and management of species in a natural way. The second is buffer or manipulation zone. It surrounds the inner core zone. It has limited human activity in it, such as tourists are allowed here, but no shooting and hunting is allowed. The human activities are permissible in this zone, which includes limited recreation, tourism, fishing, grazing, etc. The research and educational activities are also encouraged in this zone. The third one is transition zone, which is the outermost zone of the biosphere reserve. It surrounds the buffer zone outside. Hence, it is the outermost zone of the biosphere reserve. It also includes human activities such as intense recreation, forest safari, then croplanding, fishing, grazing, etc. But the condition of disturbance to the ecology is totally not allowed. Here is the model representation of biosphere reserve with 3 zones: the outer transition area, the middle buffer zone, and the innermost core zone. The inner core zone has no or very less human activities. Buffer zone has E, R, and T. E stands for education, R stands for research, and T stands for tourism. Whereas outer transition area has T and R, which stands for tourism and research. Here are few famous biosphere reserves with their states in India. It includes Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve of Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka, Sundarban Biosphere Reserve of the West Bengal, then Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve of Tamil Nadu, then Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve of Uttarakhand, Simlipal Biosphere Reserve of Odisha, Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and Kanchanajunga Biosphere Reserve of Sikkim, etc. Then what is the importance of these biosphere reserves? It helps to conserve species, ecosystem and landscape without affecting their natural habitats. It ensures economic, social and cultural development of the given protected area and the animals that lives there. It also restores the damage of biosphere reserves. It provides information on how to restore, conserve and develop an ecosystem if affected by the human activities. It also allows human activities with very strict land management practices. It also helps in the maintenance of healthy ecosystem. Next, coming on to the advantages of all these in situ conservation methods, that is wildlife sanctuaries, national parks and biosphere reserves. The major advantage of in situ conservation is it allows any affected species to grow well in a natural environment. It also brings in an equilibrium between herbivores and carnivore species, thus maintains the species equilibrium in a ecological system. Next is the disadvantages of these in situ conservation programs. It includes, number one, biosphere or ecology preservation in a large geographical area from the human activities is very difficult, because we know that human beings need these environments to live in due to the population explosion. So there is deforestation process that has to be allowed to accommodate the human presence there. Students, let us join our hands together to protect our Mother Earth. Let us pledge that we won't destroy even a grass that kills the beauty of our Mother Nature. Then let us also make our earth a better living place for all the species. The concept of Red Data Book, endangered species are important for short notes, questions, whereas the wildlife sanctuaries, national parks and biosphere reserves are important together for 10 marks question. So with this we are completing in situ conservation methods, their advantages and disadvantages. If you have any queries related to this topic, please post them to my personal WhatsApp number. Wish you all a good day ahead. Thank you all students.